Hello, and welcome to the recorded version of my Fellows Friday presentation on Campus Reach. My name is Joshua Escobedo, and I'm the founder of Campus Reach. And there's just a few things that I want to talk to today. And here's a brief agenda. So first I'm going to start by taking you over to Campus Reach and showing the registration forms for students and faculty and explaining the process for getting set up on Campus Reach. It's very quick and it's intentionally a very fast and simple process. There aren't a lot of steps that go into how you actually get started and create your class. Everything kind of comes together when all of the independent users register on their own. So the three topics that we're going to start off with is getting started, the registration, the unique ID versus student trackers. These are two different forms of how you can set up the projects, and these are the only two in Campus Reach, and I'll kind of explain when to use one versus the other. And then the last is briefly student registration. There's sometimes been some confusion for how students get registered in Campus Reach, and it's not what you're probably used to, but after some explanation, I hope you'll see that it's actually much more intuitive. It makes a whole lot more sense than the standard EdTech registration process, which involves uploading or importing some student roster or something like that. Then at the end, I'm just going to wrap it up by introducing two new tools in Campus Reach, and those are our resources function, which is a shared resource repository amongst your whole organization, and then also the survey tool, which will now allow the institution to survey all Campus Reach users on demand. So I'm going to take us over to Campus Reach. And this is our landing page. It's campusreach.net. And the sign up forms are just here on the top right. The first one that I'll show you is faculty. And they look just the same. There are just a few fields that are different between the student and the faculty registration form. And the main difference is that a student will fill out this form, and then when they submit it, they will continue on to a payment portal. And that's designed to keep people from just creating an unlimited number of accounts on Campus Reach. But if you're a Texas State student, there will be no paying. So we provide you with a code that you can use to get through that payment portal. So we just have to make sure that your students have that information so that they don't accidentally pay it. So fill out this form, name, email, password. You'll select Texas State University here and enter your course information. Click submit, and that'll instantly create your account and you'll load into the projects page. And I'll show you that in a minute. I'm not going to create an account now. I'm just going to show you from one of my own. And then here you can see the students. It is the same exact process. So to hint on or to expand on what I was hinting at earlier, students, you don't create their accounts, you don't give them access, you don't import roster from your student information system or anything like that. They come here on their own. We provide all of the instructions. So they come to this page, fill it out, put in their information, punch through here, and that will put them through the payment portal, and then they're in. And from that point, I'll show you now inside of one of my accounts. So this is the projects page, and this is the first page that you'll load into every single time you log in. The first time that you come into Campus Reach, you won't have any projects. It'll just be this field here, which will be positioned at the top, and that is where you can begin to create projects. The way this works is each one of these is an environment that you get to choose which users have access to it, and you give them a unique ID to join that environment. So they register on their own, you provide them with the unique ID for this project, and then they join and they're members of it. And I'll explain the benefits of all that in just a second. But creating a project is very simple. You do a few project details, and you give us some information so that we know how to classify it and track it. This is the project ID I mentioned. You do not need to write this down and keep track of it now. It'll always be very readily accessible. You'll continue through and enter some information about the contact, the community partner. They may or may not be a part of using Campus Reach, but this is a place where you can supply some information to your students about what they're going to be working on. And that same goes for this third page, company organization details, and then the project details as well. And once you click through that third page, you create one of these environments. For example, let's go ahead and go into this one here. And you can see this is where we display all of that information through the registration process. It will always be in view here on the right, and it includes the project ID, the contact, the project details, the details about the organization, and so on. So the 5 tools available are here: hours, reflections, discussion files, and tasks. You can look for a full demonstration of Campus Reach on YouTube or through the Texas State Service Learning website if you'd like to see a more in-depth explanation of all of these tools, but it's really a little off topic for the purpose of this discussion. So back to the projects page. This Join a Projects button is the one that will be available to students once they register. They will not be able to add a project here. So when you create the project that you want this group of students to be working in, you just supply them with this project ID, and then they'll come in their page and dump it into a field just like this. And what that's going to do is we're then going to know this student is a member of this course, wherever that project is listed as a course, which course the project is listed as. We'll know who the professor is, who the community partner if they join as well, and all of the details that we need for reporting purposes come together by the students joining this environment. So you don't have to go in and type in their name or their email or anything like that. You just provide and say the group that I want working on this project, you use this unique ID to register, and so forth for the other projects. Okay, let's check our agenda. Unique ID versus student tracker and student registration. So, to highlight the differences between the student tracker and the unique ID registration, I'll start here from this projects page. These are all created by this professor account, each of these environments. And so in a class where you have maybe 5, maybe even 10 different groups of students working on individual projects or different projects, but as a group, and they're all working collaboratively, it's important for them to be inside the same environment, and it's feasible to create these environments yourself, the faculty member, with description and all of that information. But if you were in a course with, for example, 100 students that are all working with their own community partners, either they find them or they just work independently, it's much less feasible to ask a faculty member to create 100 of these environments and then provide those unique IDs to that specific student. And so for that reason, we have the student tracker. So if you're in a course uses a structure that is similar to that, where the students are working independently, not in groups, and you have a large number of them, typically greater than 10 or so, then the student tracker is definitely the structure you want to use. And the difference, I can highlight it here just from this page, and I can also jump into a student account here in a minute and show you how it looks different on their page. So all of these are created by this account, like I've mentioned a couple times, just by this process: add a project, fill out the details, and it's created. For a student tracker, they're actually going to initiate it from their student account. They'll have a button below here that says create student tracker, and when they click that, it will give them a few options to provide some details, as well as select a professor to have administrator access over their account. And what that means is if they create the environment and select, for example, this account, this is the user support account for Campus Reach. If they were to select this account, then they would appear here on my individual list within the Students tab. All other students that join projects that I create, for example, any of these projects that I created, if I give a student a unique ID and they join into one of my projects, they'll appear on my first list, the group list. If they create the student tracker environment themselves and select me to be the administrator account for it, they will appear here on this list. All of these have their own environment. As you can see, I can click and join and go to it this way. Every single one of them has their own environment. And then what this page allows me to do is instead of having to go in and add a file or send a message or assign a task to each one of these projects individually, I can perform mass actions to all of the users that are in the list here. I also get notifications anytime a new reflection is submitted, a file is uploaded or downloaded, or a new discussion is created, or there's a message that I haven't seen in one of the discussions. I get an instant view of the students' hours currently and the number of reflections that they've done, and then I can also easily manage them just in case there's someone here who shouldn't be. And so the main purpose of creating this is to simplify for faculty members who have much larger classes and much higher number of students. Typically, when you see this structure, a class of 20 or 30 students working in groups of 4 or 5, there's much more collaboration between teacher and student about the project, how the course of the events in the project and everything like that. And so it's a little bit more important to have all the students in one working environment and you're actually communicating with them. So setup works a lot easier for those. But it's those cases where we have a large number of students, and you'll see this page can expand all the way down to hundreds of students. Okay, so that's the main difference between the student tracker and the unique ID registration. I know that it's a little bit confusing, and it's something that we're always still playing with. We want to be able to fit as many models as possible, so don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. Your service learning, the Office of Service Learning Excellence at Texas State can also be a resource to you to help figure out just exactly how to set up Campus Reach. So for the new tools, we have resources, which is here. And the way this works is any document can be put in here. It's PDF only, so read-only documents, as opposed to some of our functions in the Files tool where they can actually be collaborative documents. This is for resources, research, publications, anything like that that you think should be shared institution-wide, and this will be populated by the Office of Service Learning for things that they want to share with all of the Campus Reach users on campus. But yeah, that's what this is. It's very easy to add a document. It's just this button up here, and you fill out the fields here, attach the file, and upload it. And then, for example, I can show you how it opens up. So that's just one of my logo. Okay, continuing on. So let me log out here. Okay, so the tool that I'm going to show you now is our surveys tool. This is something we just rolled out this past week. And this allows any professor account to create their own surveys. Now, the structure of who you can send these to depends on who you are and who your account is. If you're a faculty member, you can create surveys and send them to any user who has joined one of your projects or has added you with a student tracker. So any student that you're connected to through Campus Reach, or the idea is anyone that you're teaching as well, you'll be able to send them surveys. For administrators, like the Office of Service Learning, they will be able to send surveys campus-wide to any Campus Reach user. So rather than just sending out a link and asking people to fill out your survey through email, this is a much better way to collect research and data because response rates are often unreliable when it comes to email surveying. So there's 3 tools available. First thing you're going to do is title the survey. We have 2 different structures. You can either mandate that the survey be completed as soon as the user logs in. So the way that this works is the next time after I create and send out this survey, the next time that user logs in, a window will appear where it'll explain to them that this is a survey and that they must complete it now, and they'll click through all of those pages, and once they complete the survey, they'll submit it and be able to continue on to their projects. You can also give them the option to skip it 3 times, and what that does is if they would like to, say they have an assignment to turn in or something like that, they can skip it for 12 hours and it will reappear after 12 hours the next time that they log in, and that will be allowed 3 times. After the 3rd time, they won't be able to skip again and they'll have to complete the survey. There are 3 different types of questions. A yes/no question, very simple. Any question can be required. There's multiple choice, so you get to create all of the responses, and you can also allow text input. That just creates an open field where they can put in their own answer. And then last is the slider. You can select however many number of positions you like, and then you title whatever each one will be, so that they can it can be strongly disagree to strongly agree, or it can be 1 to 10, or whatever it is. You get the gist. Okay. And I want to show you the page to send it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create one question. We're going to title it ASDF, require it, add it, and then we'll go on to next. This is how the surveys get sent out. This will this view will change based on the access that your account has, but it's going to show the organizations connected with your account, and you'll be able to filter them all the way down to the individual student, or you can send them to everyone within your access as well. This is to schedule send them, so you can select a date and a time at which it goes out. This is pretty simple stuff. Everyone has used surveys in the past, so this is not much different. The main benefit to using it through Campus Reach is the requirement of the survey. They don't get lost in inboxes. People lose their access until they complete them. Okay, those are the 2 new tools within Campus Reach. Let's go check our new tools. Good. Unique IDs, student registration. I briefly covered that. I'll talk about it just a little bit more as well. I told you it's the same page that faculty use to log in. I also want to make sure that I do mention that students need information from us to be able to get through the payment page that comes after this. It'll try and charge them $15 unless they have the step-by-step instructions for us for how to bypass that page. We don't want any Texas State users paying, and we always have ambitious students who set out before they have their instructions and end up paying and getting that money refunded. So we'd like to avoid that if at all possible. Again, my name is Joshua Escobedo. Thank you so much for listening and watching. This video did run on just a little bit longer than I had hoped, but if you have any questions or comments or concerns, or you're curious about anything, please feel free to contact me. My email is joshua.escobedo@campusreach.net, and I look forward to collaborating with you. Thank you so much.